Hi there, it's Adam bringing you another video to the channel. We are continuing the 21-22 UK Model Airport Series, focusing on the last update for the Tuesday schedules, around about 11:30. So again, I've mentioned this before, this really would be night time, but given I don't really have night lighting or anything like that, we're just filming as we are. But yeah, in reality, based on the schedules, this would be night time, which takes us in nicely, I think, ready for the following update next weekend, because obviously that will transition into Wednesday morning. I think 1 or 2 schedules do go out sort of early, around about 6 o'clock, and then the remainder probably towards after 7, I think. Off the top of my head, it might be a little bit different when we get into the update. But as always, I do like looking ahead. I do like looking about, what's the next update going to look like, and what we're going to include, what aircraft are going to go where, and things like that, just so, I've got it in my mind. And then, it just helps me sort of think ahead and do that. So, generally, updates. I'm still waiting for the Virgin A330, which is en route. I don't know if that'll come today or maybe early next week. Obviously, with the bank holiday, probably won't be Monday. But yeah, still waiting for that. But that should certainly arrive in time for the first update, which will probably be the second update. I think that first gets featured, and then the Virgin 789, that'll get featured in the third update on Wednesday, I believe, on the Wednesday schedule. So yeah, in time you will see them both. And I've already been looking ahead to see what's going to be allocated where, in terms of which stand they're going to position on and things like that. It might change, but yeah, I do like to sort of look ahead and try and visualize things early, rather than leave it all last minute on the day and then, trying to figure out where models are going to go, and when I do the actual videos, just can get a bit confusing. But in terms of update, in this update, yeah, like I say, it's kind of late on, should be night time, but gives you a nice idea for the aircraft that'll be sort of transitioning overnight. Certainly the based aircraft into the next update, into Wednesday. So if we start off, obviously on this side, we're focusing on all these are based aircraft, as we're well aware now. But again, we have rotated. Not so much this side. There is one rotation with the Ryanair. But we'll start off with the far side, EasyJet A321neo, registration Golf Uniform Zulu Mike Bravo, arriving as U28720, back from Lisbon. Then previously, as we already know, we have the EasyJet A320, registration Golf Echo Zulu Oscar Mike, returned back from Glasgow earlier on as U2886. And then we have the 2 Ryanairs. So just arriving in, we have the Ryanair 737-800 Echo India Delta Whiskey Lima, arriving from Vilnius. So this is rotated frames, returning as FR3467. The outbound registration was Echo India Golf X-Ray November. So again, that went out to Vilnius, and on the return we have Echo India Delta Whiskey Lima. And then obviously positioned in way earlier was the Ryanair UK 737-800 Golf Romeo Uniform Kilo Alpha RK860, as we previously featured in the last 2 updates, I believe. Before that, like I said, quite an early drop. Final flight for the day for that frame. Moving over to on the other side, pretty vacant kind of stands. A lot of the other movements coming sort of towards Well, we're not far off midnight, but yeah, early hours of the morning into Wednesday, and then obviously, like I say, probably those coming back will have sort of later departures towards 7, half 7 or so. But we have this another aircraft that I've put on rotation, so a 2E 737-800 with these split scimitars. Registration Golf Tango Alpha Whiskey Foxtrot, arriving from Tenerife South as BY3245. And if I just have a look, this was, what was the previous reg? Tenerife. Yeah, that was previously Golf Foxtrot Delta Zulu uniform. So that went out to Tenerife, and then this one's come back from Tenerife, which will position sort of going forward in the next few updates. And taxiing out, we have this European Air Transport A330-200 freighter Delta Alpha Lima Mike Alpha, operating as well, it operates as BCS 2883 on the inbound from Dublin, and then heads out to Leipzig as BCS 109. So European Air Transport, DHL. And then if we pan across, a couple more sort of DHL movements, focus on this one first, 767-300. The ABX Air on a nightly schedule, 767-300 freighter. And November 220 Charlie Yankees registration, arriving from Chicago, arrives sort of the day prior and then departs early hours of the morning the following day, which is why we don't tend to see really the departures, because there's not really a lot else happening around about that time. And I think doing the schedules like I do, it's kind of got that nice balance of transition. Like you finish with that day, so like now we're finishing with the Tuesday schedules, and then obviously the morning schedules is quite significant, because it's essentially like the real start of the day when a lot of the movements are going out and coming in. But yeah, regular schedule. Again, would be nice to maybe have another ABX Air 767, but at the minute, yeah, we've just got this one to sort of go with. Certainly one that's active during this time period. And then next out we have the DHL European Air Transport A300 600 freighter. Registration Delta Alpha Echo Alpha Kilo. And this, again, we previously featured an A300, I'm sure. This arrives from Belfast as BCS 2407. After about 2 hour turnaround or so, this then heads back out to Brussels as BCS 353. So yeah, again, following on from last date, that had a few cargo movements. And just to give you an indication of how the movements worked out, so we had the Aerologic in, the UPS, well, the West Atlantic departed, which is why the DHL 800 position there. Then the UPS departed, which then resulted in the ABX able to position there. But at the time the A330-200 freighter comes in, the Aerologic is still on stand, so that wouldn't be able to park where the Aerologic was. So this is purely taxi. It's not pushed back from basically the stand there, where the Aerologic was. And I just want to emphasise that a little bit. It's not so important for you as such, but it's just a little bit of... Some of you might be thinking, oh yeah, it's pushed back from that stand. It didn't, because the capacity meant with the Aerologic on stand, wasn't able to. Again, using a little bit of imagination, it would have positioned elsewhere on the airport if this was a real airport. Obviously, parking stands would be a lot. There'd be a lot more. Just to give you a bit of background information there, in terms of schedules. Again, this is, like I said, we'll be transitioning to Wednesday schedules. I've already looked ahead, as I've mentioned, and there's a lot of models in the first update. Look, a lot of the models will, obviously, that we've got featured here, certainly EasyJets, the Ryanairs and the TUI, they will all be featuring in the next update as well. But again, different flight information. They'll be flying elsewhere. They'll be on the outbounds. There might be a little bit movement between certain aircraft to accommodate other aircraft coming in and things like that. So, but yeah, I think it's probably one of the biggest updates. I think there's about 12 aircraft models to feature in the next update. So, I think it's one to look forward to. But I'll be honest, I'm really looking forward to featuring the Virgin aircraft. I think, yeah, I think that's it's kind of important for me to get them featured. So hopefully, hopefully, well, it's every weekend. I mean, in my mind, I think, it won't be too long, but yeah, it's every week. And doing these updates, I'll be honest, it makes the weeks feel like they go quite quick. When it comes around to doing another update, I think, you know what, it's actually gone, it even feels like yesterday since I did the last update. So I think in that sense, it's quite helpful to get through each week. Certainly a working week, and it's a blessing this weekend to have a 4-day weekend. And of course, hope everybody's enjoying their bank holiday weekend. Certainly, if you're in the UK, well, certainly England, because I'm not sure Scotland celebrate bank holiday. I'm not sure about Wales or Ireland, to be honest, but I know obviously us guys in England do. But yeah, hopefully you have a good one. It's not been too bad for me. Weather-wise, a bit cloudy. Thursday was lovely, but I was in the office working, and I was hoping it would transition into Friday and into the weekend, but yeah, it's just been a bit overcast. But still, it's still decent temperature, I'd say. Not too bad for this time of year, as we're heading certainly into springtime and summer months to come. But yeah, hopefully you've enjoyed this update, and we will continue with the start of the Wednesday schedules in the next update.